Okay, so for recipe 3, we have these big duck breasts, and this is from like the late mallard bird. So it's like the big northern birds that come down in the later season. So then for this one, you're gonna need a little bit extra olive oil, judging by the size of it. And you're kind of just gonna go ahead and rub that all in there. Make sure it gets nice and moist. Kind of just keep flipping it back and forth so that way it gets everywhere on here. And because it's a bigger breast, you're gonna have to use a lot more seasoning. So for this one, I'm gonna combine the garlic dry rub and the garlic beer seasoning together for it. And I'm kind of just gonna pour it off to the side again, but this time a lot on there extra because we have 2 big breasts we're making. And then you're kind of just gonna stir it with your finger as best you can. And then kind of just clean it off on there because it's all going to the same place anyways. And you're kind of just gonna set it on. Make sure you try and get everything, and then flip it over. Kind of rub it around, so that way it's not all clumped up into one area. And then take the leftover stuff that you have and kind of just put it on there. Make sure you season it really good because this is gonna be the one that uses up the most seasoning when it's cooking. Make sure you kind of get everywhere. Yeah, I'll need some more. So I'm just kind of, after you do that, you can kind of just take your seasoning and go over the top a little bit with it. You can pick the one that you like the most, and I like them both, so I'll just do this one. And then I'll flip it over again, kind of let it soak in, because that's where the olive oil was. And we'll use the other seasoning on this side. Kind of gives it a good flavor. And kind of spread it in again to the small holes, probably from when it was chopped. The edges, if there's flaps, again, take it, make sure you get up in there, so that way there's no part left unseasoned. And then while you're cooking the big ones, you're gonna have to squirt some Worcestershire or some kind of moisture on there, so that way it doesn't get dry. I can't read lips. And kind of just set this off to the side over here. And then we'll grab our next one. I mean, this one is done the same way. We don't need to really move it, except for to pour the olive oil on. Is it olive oil? Yeah, I need that. Just rub it in. And then some of the seasoning from before we'll get on there, so that'll help it kind of start to absorb more. But still, take it and pour it off to the side first, so that way you get a good mixture in there. Slippery outside. Stir, mix it up, pour some on there, let that go first, kind of move it around with your fingers, and flip it. And then kind of rub it in, and then judging by how this looks, we are definitely going to need some more seasoning from both kinds. That's okay. A lot is better than none. And then right here you can see that it's kind of missing a little chunk, and that didn't cause the seasoning not to get in there when we put it flat down. So we want to make sure that we go in and we grab our extra seasoning like that and kind of just put it all up in there. kind of rub around. So that way it's nice and seasoned up. And then kind of just keep going around and into the crevices. And like how this one kind of lifts up right here. You can see after it got lifted up, there's no seasoning. So we have to go back and take whichever kind we want, pour some in there. That's okay, we're gonna spread it around, make sure it gets everywhere. So this one's gonna cook good. Perfect. And then that one has enough seasoning on there, so we can kind of flip it over and work with this side. And being that I used this one for the last side, we'll use this one. What? Oh yeah. And then if you're doing this and you have a cut on your hand, you should wear gloves. Just a little tip. So that way your blood doesn't get in the meat, because that would be very unsanitary. What? Stop waving your hands at me. Okay, and that was the end of recipe 3.